All right, we're going live on YouTube
All right.
because we're going to be starting this. All right, should be live and recording. Here we go.
I'll give you the hair tie right off of my wrist. I'll turn it up if you play Taylor Swift. I'll gas you up when you're acting unhinged. If you're done, if you pissed, I'll help you burn down a bridge. I'm an always got time for my girls, girl. Wherever you are in the world, girl, I'll be right there when you call me up. If you need to cry or wanna get drunk, I'll be your number one hype girl. I got your back in a fight, girl. Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Yeah, there ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Hey. Woo! Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl.
Hey, 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 it is me, Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, Category 5 Hurricane Girl, and it is a hell of a day today. Everything's chaotic. I see you got in, Jen. I was just about to email you a link. Yes, Morgan's trying to get her audio working. Sim is somewhere. We'll see her soon. But it is a special day today. Because today we demote one of our panelists and promote them to guest temporarily for one episode only. Abby Rosmarin, we are celebrating you today because it is the year of dating myself coming out soon. And it has taken me this long to say the name of that book correctly the first time. I don't, I remember the first time you were on here, I couldn't, I couldn't make it happen. I couldn't get it out of my mouth. But we're here and it's been, gosh, like 7 months since that first episode.
I remember, and to think about where I was mentally too when I first came on and where things have progressed since then, it's been low-key kind of a lifetime between January and now.
Truly, truly a lifetime, I think. And I think all of us are in so many different places now.
Mm.
Um, but it's a good thing. Very good thing. But we are the Hurricane Girls, the daughters of darkness, sisters of rage, the goddess's curse upon mediocre men and nature's happy little accidents. I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle. As I said before, you're on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls, Spotify, Apple Podcasts later, WHGR after the fact. You can go listen to a random Hurricane Girls show there anytime other than right now because you're here. So, just wanted to mention that we are part of the Creator Accountability Network. Uh, you can find that at thattitle.org, and they are here to help keep us accountable and help keep the community safe. So go take a visit at their website, see what they're all about. And I do want to talk just a little bit before we get into tonight's topic here about our upcoming guests because Jen, I believe you're going to be happy with the sheer amount of music we are bringing on this
Awesome.
show. We are bringing some incredible, incredible artists coming on. I'm going to get to see Miss Emily next week. She'll be coming on in October. Can't wait to see her live though, and just get to hang out with her for a while. On August 12th, we will be visiting with the North Omaha cat lady, Rosie herself from TikTok. Will be coming and hopefully bringing her 3 million followers. That would be great if she would do that. We've been talking, set that up. August 5th, we will be meeting the Rebel Eves. And I have been talking to one of them over this past week. They're amazing. They're a very queer band. They are feminist. They are, yeah, it's very much protest music, but it's got a little bit of a vibe of the Chicks meets Joan Baez here, I think. So
Ooh.
I kind of like it like that. July 29th, Ellie from the Cancellations will be appearing here on the show. Cancellations, a great alternative band from out in California. Um, July 22nd, Betty from Gold Steps, great pop punk band out of Milwaukee. And 15th, we will see Millionaire Melly. July 8th, Denisha. I just booked this one. Denisha is, I would say, a cross between Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill with a
Ooh.
little bit of Taylor Swift thrown in there and just
Okay.
a bit of old school country.
Nice.
Um, so I think you all will really enjoy getting to know these artists. I know I will. But tonight is the night we have been waiting for. We have Cimarron in the house here. That's not what we
Hello.
were waiting for,
And
though. It's
Ooh.
not what we were waiting for, but
Story
I'm
of my life. It's okay.
so glad to see you. Always glad to see you.
Thank you, thank you.
Tonight is the night we've been waiting for. It is the week before the release of The Year of Dating Myself.
Yeah.
And we have been fortunate enough not to just have the author on the show once, not to just have her here tonight, but have her here all the time and in our lives, and to have literally grown together and literally formed bonds that I believe will never be broken. You know,
Mm.
just having the relationship we've had since that first episode. And you and I knew each other before, but that was kind of a takeoff point for us too. But just getting to see the culmination of something we weren't, maybe it might happen, maybe it won't, maybe, maybe the rumors are gonna get the better of us, the controversy. We'll talk about all of that, but Abby, all of us, from I think I can speak for all of us, and I can say we are so fucking excited to see this book come to fruition.
Mm.
Right
Thank you.
on.
Yes, so you know we talk about the controversy.
Mm.
So let's just get that out of the way real quick.
Do it.
Um, there's some people on TikTok who got fuck all better to do than to be catty bitches and mean girls. And these people have loads and loads of followers. And it turns out that mean girls are mean girls are mean girls, whether they're shitty little girls on the playground or whether they're shitty big girls with loads who are influencers on the app. And I've taken on a few of them over the past couple months. And of course, they're always like, well, two things can be true at the same time. Abby can be your good friend and also be a horrible person. And I'm like, fuck you. No, 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 no. No, we have learned one thing. If we've learned one thing from this show, I think we have learned that it is you do not judge a book by its cover, although your cover on your book is pretty awesome. How are you feeling about that though? Because you were tell us about where you started and where you are now though with that.
Ooh, with all that drama, it is wild to think about how it was, we have passed the year mark of when it all had started. And, as I see it, in a lot of ways, it was that necessary explosion in my life to have things settle the way they are. Because you know what, and I was even discussing this with, my boyfriend, which I guess I'll get into a little bit later on about how nothing in my life would be here where it is now, including him, if my life hadn't blown up. I
I
would not
like
be working
that.
where I'm working at. I would not be have learned the things that I was able to learn, like, being a child's therapist. That would not have been anywhere on the docket for me. Um, who I grew into as a person, you needed that explosion. And, did the punishment fit the crime? Fuck no. My crime was getting wrapped up in a toxic friend group, having bad boundaries, not learning to like, hey, matching energy doesn't it's not justified. Oh, because they do it too. Again, you learn that in the second grade, like, know that you don't get that excuse. But this
Right.
this is how I see it. It got me out of social media, which has been the most incredible blessing ever. I'm so glad to get out of that. I'm so glad to have had that addiction broken. Um, just learning what I needed to learn. A lot of stuff was officially, driven home. Like any old lessons, boom, they got cemented there. Um, and it was very validating in a lot of ways to learn that all these people who were on these high horses for so long about how I am this psycho bitch narcissist, um, all of a sudden they're turning on each other. They're accusing each other of the exact same things they were accusing me of. Or there was a little bit of a live by the sword, die by the sword, where they ended up in their own controversies and showed that they were problematic in their own ways. And as I see it, hopefully at some point the social media world will stop taking everyday people and trying to bring them to justice. And by bring them to justice means send death threats and try to get them kicked out of their own school and all that stuff. Uh, we'll stop doing that. This whole like we're gonna call out regular people for any and all dramas that should be saved for the Harvey Weinsteins, the Bill Cosbys, and the
Hmm.
influencer levels of those kind of people of the world, the true predators, not I don't like this person because this person told this person that she badmouthed me, which I really do hope for all the people who decide to send me death threats because, hey, this person told this person that I badmouthed other people in this book. I hope they buy a copy. And I hope they see that no, that was never the case. And it's not like those got deleted after the fact. That book was already sent to print by the time the all the crazy shit happened. So nothing got deleted. Um, and I hope they can see that that was hearsay and they threatened my life over hearsay.
Mm. That's wild that people take TikTok. I know people take TikTok seriously. I get it. Like there are some serious things that do happen on TikTok, but to send somebody death threats over creme brulee.
That's the thing that
Yeah.
like, I fully recognize I was not a perfect friend. There's a lot of stuff I could have done differently. And I definitely learned some really hard lessons about like when you're in a like you're realizing somebody you shouldn't keep in your life anymore. Don't do the grand fucking exit, just fucking exit. But the
Mhm.
evidence was I'm claiming they ate my creme brulee. I'm claiming they were, this hungover drunk who, ruined my birthday or, basically that's the evidence. And
Mhm.
that was enough for people to seek out my personal email, my personal unsearchable Facebook to let me know that I'm a vile narcissist who deserves to die.
Uh, And that's definitely fuck no, but um there are so many worse things to get to out there. There are people who are actually victimizing people. There are people who are out there stalking people who are out there doing things that actually cause harm.
Mhm.
This was a whole lot of she just didn't stroke my ego a certain way. She
She
didn't
didn't hold my
react
hand as
away.
much as I wanted her to and pay me enough
Right.
attention. She didn't validate me enough.
Hmm.
Whatever that looks like,
And
whatever that means for them,
what I translate that
you know.
to is what I translate that to is I need view counts. I need hits. I need attention to my page right now. So let's gin up this controversy. Let's get a whole lot of hangers on involved because the whole thing with it for me was the direction of all the followers. The because I'm sorry, I have 14.3 thousand followers. It means fucking nothing. Honestly, it means that over the years I've been on TikTok, some people have clicked a little button and then have probably stopped watching me for the rest of their life. Like they're half of the people who follow me on TikTok probably don't even exist anymore. Like they probably don't even use the app. It's a fucking meaningless number. But if I, I do have people who do follow me, who have that parasocial relationship with me, who think they know me, who feel like they feel some sort of kinship with me. And in a lot of ways, I appreciate that because it's nice to know that what I say actually reaches ears and touches hearts. But at the same time, when you have a whole bunch of those, it's your responsibility as a content creator. If you see them going after somebody else to say, fucking cut it out.
Mhm.
Stop that. Do not dare do that. And I have had to occasionally be like, hey, y'all, chill. Like it's not everything you think this is. But yeah, that didn't happen there. And it was like there's an account of yours there's an imposter account of yours on TikTok right now that had stolen a few of your videos around the time of Salem and everything, and just like um had and in the comments sections on that imposter account are absolutely abominable. They're insane. And the fact that people let that happen to you
Mhm.
is inexcusable to me in a big creator. I don't care if you have 1 million followers. Fucking rein that shit in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And honestly, it not only was it allowed, it was encouraged. They were like taking relish in it and using terms like, bring to justice. And one of
What?
the things,
We have to let
yeah,
everyone know.
I
Like
was
you're
supposed
fucking
to be brought,
apartheid or something. Come on.
I was supposed to be
Right.
brought to justice because I'm being outed. And it's really like, again, I remember one of the things, Sheila, that you said, even in the midst of it, it's like, even if every single thing they're saying is true, the worst that makes you is a bitch. It,
Exactly.
it does
Exactly.
not make
The worst.
you public enemy number one who should be raked over the coals and then publicly
Right.
flogged.
At
Um,
the very worst, you were a bitch. You're like a narcissist bitch. And with that, what do you do with that? You just move on. Use your fingers and swipe.
Seriously.
mm,
Like that, there's a very quick way to make Abby, Sheila, Jen, Sim, or Morgan disappear from your life forever.
Yes.
It's called block.
Click. Exactly.
Right.
And I
And
think that's the thing that astounds me. And quite honestly, that's part of the reason I don't create more content. I usually I repost things. But I very rarely actually put my own content out there because, heaven forbid someone just disagree with something that you say or do.
Hmm.
You know, that's
yeah.
that's not enough. But they become keyboard warriors,
Or
and hiding behind the safety of their screen, thinking there's no consequences to how they respond. And it takes, how many people to contact, you find your information on Google, and then they're getting into your private life because they don't like something you said online, you know
Mhm.
and that is terrifying.
And
Hmm.
That
Abby,
is
Abby
terrifying.
and I both have put our government names on our accounts too, so it's not that hard
mm,
to really look. I mean, this wasn't my government name when I started. It became that along the way, but like at the same time, I'm not putting out anything out there that I'm ashamed of
Hmm.
or that I would worry about losing my job for. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there who had to self-publish because nobody would pick up their manuscript. And then there are people who get a deal. And then there may be just a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah.
I'm not
There's
saying that's, you know,
yeah.
I'm not saying that's the case, but it sure does seem that way sometimes.
But I think the other thing though too,
Amber.
though, is you don't have to do something wrong. All it has to do
No.
is where you is you working for somebody who feels like the optics could be bad on the situation, who doesn't like, the chatter around you because you're causing
uh-huh.
controversy. So even if you don't say anything wrong, even if they are 100% agree with you. All it takes is, well, it's not that we disagree with what you said. However, you're drawing too much attention,
Hmm.
you
Exactly.
know, and they don't, if you're not anonymous enough, then you're a liability. And
But it's
that's the double-edged sword to that.
it's not only that, the drawing too much attention
Right.
away from me.
Mm.
Right.
Like you're getting the attention that I want, and I want to get the attention that you have. And forget about the fact that they're all like hundreds of thousands of followers. You know, the at least one of them had 1 million until she mysteriously lost 250,000 in the last month or two. But we're not talking about small time creators, although they did pull in some of those just for cannon fodder. But the fact that they went after give you so going so far as to give you death threats and going so far as to contact your school and try to get you canceled from your internship and literally ruin your career. Not
Mhm.
only ruin your publishing chances, but ruin your career. And the fact that they did all that and none of it has prevailed.
Nevertheless, I persist.
Right. That I know you've talked a lot, like, and I don't mean to share too much of our own private communication, but I know you've talked about where you were mentally at that time,
Mhm.
and to see that you have come to the polar opposite of that over the past 7 months, 7, 8, 9 months, it's it's gratifying and it's heartwarming, and I'm fucking proud of you,
Thank you.
honestly, because you did that.
Mhm.
Like you fucking did that. You sat there, alone at times, and you had the choice to stop or to continue on, and you made the choice to soldier on, even though that wasn't always the choice that appealed the most.
And
And I
yeah,
love that.
thank you. And honestly, I will be open about, especially these days where like that got me into a place where I had always been somebody where the spicy thought, the intrusive thought was always on the periphery. This was the first time in my life where I was actively suicidal. And, I one of the few remaining people who from the TikTok world who hadn't abandoned me really validated something for me that was you were excommunicated from your community when that would have happened for our ancestors, that is literal death. If you are cast away from your tribe,
Mhm.
you die. And so, of course,
Yeah.
your body is reacting as if you were cast from your tribe. And you add in the part where, like, the vilest of vilest shit, which to this day, I am still like in awe of the unwinnable situation I was put in. Where again, you saw those comments that were on the imposter page. I was getting on my main page. I was getting on my main page when I was overseas and was supposed to host this trip, and I turn off my comments, and somehow that's proof of guilt that I turned off my comments. And it was just this unwinnable situation where I was supposed to not put up my guard while getting punched at, but also I'm flinching wrong. And it felt like there was no opportunity to like even have a chance to even just protect myself. Forget fighting back. Um, and it put me
Right.
into a horrific place, and it really was uh sheer determination. Like the one real positive from it is like I understand on a visceral level now why safety planning is so important in the mental health world. Like if somebody has suicidal ideation or even has gone so far into like intense or even plans, this is why the safety plan is in place. Because when I tell you that my own safety plan, these little things that seem so like cognitively insignificant, but if it got me to the end of the day without toaster bathing it, that was a win. And that for me, especially with my future as a clinician, like it's one thing to understand that because that's what you were taught. It's another thing to understand it because that's what you lived.
Yes, it is. And I'm so happy that you had that in place.
Can you talk a little bit, Abby, about like to put this in perspective? Because I don't think people really understand the magnitude when we talk about the issues happening online and how they impact your life, right? We're not just talking about one or two people or an occasional angry message. Oh, I checked my DMs and there was, two or three people. Can you talk a little bit about the magnitude of the numbers that were coming at you that you were being barraged with every day?
My God. Before I shut off my comments, it was, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like you couldn't even catch them all. And somehow the DMs were getting in through as well, even though my DMs are very strictly for mutuals only. Though I would get like 15, 16 of somehow they're getting through the filter, which lets me know maybe that there were so many coming through that eventually the filter goes, whatever, and they're coming through. My Instagram, forget about it. Like this is why I took all of it off of my phone entirely, because all you could see is like 500 message requests, and some of them were some like really nasty, like, I know you're in Croatia, I live in Croatia, if you know what's good for you, you will leave the country because it's on site if I see you, like that kind of shit. um a complete barrage, and there was no respite from it, because we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And again, getting into personal Facebook, personal email, like getting those, even though I probably only got like 5 or 6 total, to have those break through that barrier, that was violating in a way that I cannot put into words.
Mhm. And they wonder why you turned the comments off.
Mm.
Morgan?
Well, can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you're
can
good.
hear you.
Thank God. Okay, great. First of all, I'm so proud of you, Abby. It is the year of dating myself. So proud of you. And I commend your bravery. I know it's not easy. We know how vicious social media can be. In your case, you're the one that didn't deserve it at all. So my question is, now that you have actually been on our profile, have you still experienced any type of harassment? Anyone trying to come after you? Are you okay?
Thankfully, for the most part, okay. There was a little part that was a little like, really, guys, where, as we're doing the promo stuff for the book, it gets put up on Goodreads, and immediately it's getting 1 star bombed, and it's like it's a year later. You're gonna really do that for a book you've never even read? Why? Because this person or that person said I must be bad mouthing somebody in the book. So that was frustrating, but that's more of a, it's so low level. I knock on wood, and it might also help that I'm just so off of all social media. Um, but it's thankfully in a place where I don't fear for my safety anymore.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
And they know better than to come after you on TikTok because I will eat them alive.
I
And
second the
have
motion.
done. Yes. Um no, you have a slight difference there in you now is you have a squad that will absolutely go feral if we need to. And that's been the difference, I think, for you is from what you've told me is having friends around you who are not just here for the clout. Because you don't have social media right now. You got no clout to give. You got your book, and then I mean, obviously the book is going to do amazing, and it's going to be a blockbuster, but it has never been about that for any of us here. Um, I mean, we all had our let's test and see. You had your let's test them and see how they are with us, but when it comes right down to it, friends are friends are friends. Whether you have a billion followers or whether you're a small podcast who's just trying to make a mark, or whether you're just you know a girl in New Hampshire, a therapist in Illinois, a student in Texas, a musician in Chicago, or pink hair trans girl in the middle of bumfuck Ohio, you know? Like we're all people. And the way that you have fit into our group here in our podcast here, and knowing that this when this goes off the air, the texts are still flying.
Mm.
Like every single day I'm checking in on one of y'all, if not all of y'all. I mean, I've got my teacher here who's going to be teaching me voice lessons. I'm like, yeah, hey Abby, look at this fucked up thing that happened today. Or hey Sim, I just need to chat or something like that. Hey Morgan, what's the tea? You know, something like that. This is not a this is not a podcast group or a social media group. It's people who met on social media or through social media who became friends offline, and that's really where it's at, I think.
Amen.
Yeah. But fuck all those people, and y'all
Mhm.
know who you are. Fuck you, and fuck you, and everybody else around too. Y'all can go suck a dick or something or whatever it is you're into. Because we are here tonight. Tonight. Oh, and Morgan is low key in the chat asking to take you out on a date, I think.
Why you
Yeah.
had to air me out like that?
I'm just saying. I'm not gonna let that stay in the background,
Oh,
honestly. No. Let's talk about the
yay.
year
Mhm.
of dating myself.
Yay.
Yay.
This is the cover right now. You don't it comes out on the 8th. You don't have to wait for that. You can go to Amazon right fucking now, open up another browser tab, go to Amazon, go to Barnes and Noble, go to I don't know, is Books a Million still a thing? Like I go go to the place where the books are on the internet, pre-order it, let it come to your house. If you don't have room on your bookshelf for it, it's like 19.99 for the hard copy from Amazon, but it's 9.99 if you just want to read it on a Kindle or on ebook. Um, go to I don't know if that makes a difference with how much money you get, Abby, but you know, I think you said a sale is a sale at one point.
At the end of the day, the sale is a sale, and the fun thing about advances is that everything is going to count against the advance. It's kind of like health insurance, only like almost like a reversal, and
Mhm.
then afterwards, I'll be seeing some mullahs. But at the end of the day, again, a sale is a sale is a sale, and I've learned that the audiobook will be released the same day as the paperback.
Nice. So if you're an audiobook person and you have a subscription to Audible or Spotify, Premium, Spotify Premium has all the good books on it. So you can actually it will not be Abby's voice, which
But the narrator, she is amazing, and the fact that I just stuttered like that lets you know that for my own mental health,
they
maybe
made the
it
right
was for the
choice.
best that someone who's a professional did this and not me.
I love it. I
Yeah,
just ordered it. I just got confirmation I pre-ordered it on its
nice.
way. I'm
Yay.
so
I am
excited.
pre-ordering.
I'm gonna share this with all my network.
Oh my
I'm
God, y'all. I don't mean to cut you off, but it is actually on Spotify. And
No
I'm
shit,
pretty,
really?
Wait,
yes.
okay, hold on just a second. Wait, is it available on Spotify or can you just pre-save it?
So you can pre-save it. It does release on July the 8th. So I'm actually about to change my
Nice.
settings. So, oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna cry because I was like, I want to read the book. Oh my God.
Listen, we got you. We got you. Everybody, if you're go bookmark Hurricane Girls while you're on Spotify and then get you some Abby Rosmarin audiobooks. They were actually just asking about that in the chat there. Okay.
And the nice
So
thing about Spotify is it gives you this nice little countdown. So the book comes out in exactly 6 days, 6 hours,
Mhm.
26 minutes, and 19 seconds,
Drumming
18
up some
seconds,
excitement.
17 seconds.
so we are in business there, the year of dating myself. And I am not only I'm not only buying this for myself, but I'm also getting copies for my daughters who might need it.
Aw.
Um, I mean, half of my children are 13, the other half are grown ass adults, and some are married, but still, I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in a relationship. You can still benefit from this book because this book is all about taking care of yourself, treating yourself like you would like to be treated. So July 7th is what I'm hearing down in the comments there. Um, but yeah, this is something that I've whenever I talk to women about it, they're like, I want to read that. And so I think we want to make sure we get all the word out there. We're going to be talking about it on my social media for a little bit. We're going to be talking about it on this show, hopefully during this whole month, you know. I know we're going to have other guests, but we're going to keep bringing it up and keep vlogging it until everybody that we know has a copy.
Yay.
So I think I really just want to know. Like I want the audience here, we all know where you come from, but the audience here that we have right now may not know what the genesis of this book was. So how did this get started?
So this got started when I hit rock bottom in the dating world. My post-marriage dating world, honestly, my pre-marriage dating world as well. And I will always bracket and say that my marriage was a lovely one to a lovely human. It just we don't work as a romantic couple. But anyway, it was such a, this disaster where I just like bad situation, and each one seemed to get worse than the one before until I got into a really just a really bad relationship that the psychologically abusive kind of the emotionally and then eventually verbally. And it was also one that I saw the red flags and I even saw how things were progressing from pretty early on, and yet here I was rationalizing and rationalizing. And then it was 1 month after I finally got out of that relationship. And it was actually when he had dropped off my stuff at my place while he was on his way to like a nearby state. And it brought up all these emotions, and I really just hit this like, how did I get here? And that was that moment where I had to really like take stock of, okay, while nobody deserves mistreatment, no one deserves to disrespect, no one deserves to get cheated on. I keep getting into these bad situations. There's a common denominator here. And it does not matter, like, again, that being the common denominator does not mean you deserve what happened. But if I'm going to break this pattern, I have to acknowledge, like, there's something that I am doing that isn't breaking the pattern. And the only way I can break it is to kind of stare that down. And I had this realization of like, it's because I have been relationship hopping. I would not let myself be single for more than honestly even a month. And I would, have these big dramatic, oh my God, that's it. I'm never gonna date again. I'm out of here. I'm swearing off men. I'm swearing off love. All it took was just one dude with a hint of a like, oh, maybe that'll be my Prince Charming. And then all of my convictions went out the door. And realizing this and realizing that this has been my pattern really was honestly a sobering moment. I didn't know what to do with that until New Year's Eve, where I genuinely believe that the powers that be were like, we're making this happen because timing wise, it doesn't get better than this. I was just casually checking my emails. It's New Year's Eve. I'm in passenger seat of my friend's car. We're just driving back to our hotel. And I see that there is this email for my favorite band, Guster. They're going to play near me April of that year. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Whenever Guster's in town, I'm going to go see them. I click on the link. Show's almost sold out. There's one seat here. There's one seat here. There's one seat there. That's it. And I was like, well, that's a fucking bust. But before I completely exit out of Ticketmaster, I go, when was the last time I ever went to a concert? I went to a concert by myself. And the answer was never. And honestly, the answer to ever going to anything by myself was never. I was so codependent that the idea of ever doing anything without someone, and typically a romantic partner by my side, just never occurred to me. And I was like, okay, fuck yeah, then I'm buying this ticket. I'm gonna take myself out to this concert. And that was those magic words. And I swear to God, that thought, phrase, I'm gonna take myself out to this concert, started this avalanche. Suddenly I'm out of Ticketmaster and now I'm on my notes app and I'm writing out all the things that I'm going to do and I'm going to take myself out to this place and that place and all the stuff I want to do in the new year. And literally as the year was that year was ending and the new year began, I had formulated the year of dating myself.
That's see that, it sounds so simple in ways, but it's also something that I think women hardly ever think about because we are trained from the time that we're little girls that we are supposed to be in service to our tribe or our community or our husbands or our fathers or our, like everything, it's like, God first, yourself last, others are above you, like there's this deep-seated subservience to all that. And so when it comes to going out and doing things on your own, it feels like, what am I wait, I get to do that? Like that's an okay thing? I don't think like I had that feeling growing up masquerading as a man. Because men were supposed to go out and do whatever, but I know the women in my life, um, for various reasons, one of which is safety, obviously,
Yeah,
but
50's
but
big.
another of which is just that they didn't feel like they could. Like people would look at the women in my life and be like, "Well, you want to go do this? Well, you can't do that. You're a woman." And I love the fact that you just went in and was like, you know what? Damn who I'm sitting next to. I like this band. I'm gonna go see him. And so fuck it. I'm gonna have a night.
Mhm.
That's I think that to me is something that I have to really focus on because I feel weird going out to a restaurant and eating by myself because it's just such an inherently social atmosphere. I feel weird going to like the only thing I don't feel weird doing by myself is going to a movie because fuck you, I don't want to talk to you during a movie.
That it's
Right.
perfect going there alone.
Right.
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
like, no, like everybody's like, you want to go to a movie with me? No, I don't. I truly don't. Like I might want to see the movie, but I don't want to see it with you.
Right.
Like
Seriously.
because you're gonna sit there and be whispering in my ear or something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm watching
You
this
just want to pay
fucking
attention.
this movie's awesome. Leave me alone.
Seriously.
And
I love, Abby, that you had that opportunity to really spend that time for yourself and discover it. I know exactly how that feels. It's strange though because I think I'm such an odd person because even I remember being like 4 or 5 years old. I just never got the memo that as a woman I wasn't supposed to do things, that I should be able to do. I had plenty of people telling me that, but it just never really sunk in. So I've always been a huge fan of doing things on my own. I mean, I've been happily married for, 15 years, but I still my husband does not like classical concerts. He loves listening to them, but he doesn't like going. So I'll go. I take myself. I'll go and have a beautiful martini at a fancy bar, go to Orchestra Hall, just really have a wonderful night out by myself. Or, if he's out of town or I don't even need an excuse, I'll just go and just sit at a bar, a restaurant, and have myself a nice martini and just forget all my troubles.
Mhm.
Sorry, you can't hear the dog in the background, by the way, can you?
no.
Oh,
As
okay,
long as
because
you
he's
can't hear the
moving.
teenager in my background. So
I've got
um
deer coming through the woods in the back of the house, and he's just losing his mind.
I
Yeah,
love
I've just
it.
always been a huge fan. Like, when you you've ever had to go to like conferences for whatever reason or summits or that, I cannot wait to get away from everyone and just chill and have me a martini and read a book and just get away from everybody. And I really recommend that for everyone. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of women, we're just socialized from, and maybe it's in our DNA, maybe it's something instinctual that we protect and we surround ourselves with protection and we take care,
Right.
like we stay behind with the children, we stay behind with the animals, whatever that comes down to. But I highly recommend that for everyone because the more we can normalize that, the more we just add another layer of freedom to ourselves
Mhm.
as women in this world. And I'm so glad this book is out here because I never really knew how to articulate that, Abby. I never had a way to put it into because I honestly thought I was the only person doing it. So I didn't know how to talk about it with my friends. I didn't know how to talk to it. So now I can be like, yo, girl, you
I
need a
got a
date.
book for you.
Exactly. Read this book from my girl Abby, and you need to take yourself on a date.
Yeah.
Period. I
It's
remember
pussy time.
it
The
is.
pussies just
Sim,
yes.
Sim, Sim is stroking it.
Yeah.
Or dead.
Do you like? I find this happens a lot of times when I go out by myself. I don't know if you,
Mhm.
Jen, Morgan, Sim, Abby, if you find out that if you find this happens, but when you are out and you are looking good and you
Mhm.
are enjoying yourself and you're clearly not there in service of any man,
Uh-huh.
Girl,
do you find the fact that men try to constantly come up and disrupt that peace? Like, because I
absolutely.
do.
Yeah, yeah. I've always
Absolutely.
wondered
Yeah.
about that. If someone could shine that light on us for us, I've always wondered. I'm always like, what is it about me? Like my energy says, leave me the hell alone. I'm at the far side of the bar. Like, well, I know in some circumstances, depending on where you are, that's a signal to some men that you're a working girl. So ladies out there, be cautious of that. But when you're giving off all the signals of just leave me alone, I don't know why some men feel like they can approach you, disturb your peace, and that you owe them a response, that you owe them
I
a
swear.
conversation. I
Like,
don't get that.
can a girl just be here for a good time? Like the music is good. Leave me
Like,
alone.
seriously, what's more gratifying than sitting in the back of the room, ain't nobody bothering you? You got you a drink, you're listening to a really great ensemble band artist, whatever it is, and just have your moment. Like, you don't want to talk to anybody. Why does that say to someone? And it's not women that come up to me, it's men. What does that, why does that say to you, hey, I'm lonely, come and talk to me? No, come on.
No,
I
no,
mean,
like it's so attractive, I think, though, because
I don't,
they see
I
you
don't
there
know.
and you're not paying them any attention.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
And they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
there's something about it, like when they approach you and you're like you dismiss them, then somehow in their brain that equates to please try 10 times harder to get my
yes.
attention now.
They get so
Like I
offended. Like
told
they,
you to
oh,
fuck off in no uncertain terms, but all you heard was I can change your mind. I can change your mind.
right?
Mhm. I still call back to a couple of months ago when I was sitting there and at a bar and texting people that I was supposed to hook up with, texting a guy, texting a girl, not paying attention to anything. I was just enjoying, I was just enjoying the vibe, and I was enjoying my non-alcoholic drink. I was sitting there
Mhm.
having a good time. I couldn't stop people from coming up to me. They're just like, "Hey, what's your name?" My name is I am having fun by myself. I'm
Yes.
on a
Oh,
date. Leave
Party of
me
one.
alone.
I know for me, and I go out. Well, I mean, living in Houston, I go out a lot. I be doing stuff at the last minute, particularly for my birthday. Particularly for my birthday, I mean, everyone comes and talks to me, like especially the ladies. And a lot of times when I go out by myself and eat out by myself, other people pay for it, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you. I mean, I literally had this one dude talk about you here by yourself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just chilling. They're like, where your man at? And I'm like, what man? I'm single. Why?
Where your
My
man gets, oh goodness.
Yes,
Like
my
you have to have a
favorite
man present.
my
Let you
favorite is
out alone.
when
yeah,
I'm at
it's
the gay bar on drag nights and drunk guys come up and hand me $5 bills for nothing. And I'm like,
I'm
yeah,
not mad
no.
at it.
I'm like, I'm not
Yeah,
one of the
seriously, I
drag
can't hate on
queens, but
that.
I'm not one of the drag queens, but thank you.
I mean, look, one time I ate at Maestro's. The first time I went to Maestro's was to celebrate the fact that I got an A in history. So, like, literally, it was some dude sitting there. It was one of the dude's birthday. That was like, hey, ain't nobody gonna say happy birthday. Now, I just did it for the kindness of my heart. Dude paid for everything. I said, I love me some free food.
Seriously, but he
The,
didn't ask you to put out later, did he?
No.
Well, that's fantastic.
well, there's always low key that hope.
Yeah, that
It's
expectation.
it's like,
Oh,
well, if I do
Well,
this, maybe she'll give me the time of day. But
well
we're
yeah.
not
no.
there
Well,
because
no.
we are disciples of Abigail Rosmarin, and we
Uh-huh.
are out here
Well, no.
dating our fucking
See,
self.
see what had
Amen.
happened was they had like two other baddies with them. So if they would have tagged me along, they was kind of looking at me like, who's that? And I'm like, I'm just here enjoying myself and drinking drinking my lemon drop and enjoying my lobster bisque and also my shrimp
Love it.
with the biscuits. I'm like,
Yes.
look, I'm like, look, sis, I ain't trying to take your meal ticket. If I wanted him, I could.
So,
I'm not
Abby,
trying to take your meal ticket.
I'm just
obviously we've all
saying.
taken ourselves to the bar here, but like, concerts, things like that. Like,
Absolutely.
what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite date to take yourself on?
I think my favorite date at the end of the day is taking myself out to dinner because there is something to be said about having that entire table to yourself. It's the most daunting.
Mhm.
I put off taking myself out to a full-on restaurant for 6 months. Like I'm halfway through the year of
Mm.
dating myself before I even did it. But once I got comfortable with it, you feel like a fucking rock star. If you can just hold that like space, if you will.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's like I'm a business person who like, "Oh, do I have time to invite somebody? No. Or you're like a food critic, like you get that feeling like, no, damn straight. I get to own this entire table.
Mm.
It's a great way of looking at it.
It is my fears, and I don't know if these were the same as yours, but my fears is like, look at that weirdo sitting over there eating by themselves. They must be so lonely or whatever. And I'm like,
Mhm.
actually, I'm eating my food, I'm scrolling my phone, I'm enjoying peace and quiet. And
Absolutely.
not having some man yapping in my ear about what kind of fish he caught last weekend or how his football team is doing or some bullshit about the office or something like that. As I'm sorry, men talk about women being yappers all the time, but they got the biggest goddamn mouths in the world. Like you can't get them to shut up, but
Mhm.
just the
True.
peace. And yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
It's like I'm sitting here, I'm having my food served to me on my table in front of me, my table.
Hmm.
Nobody's kicking me underneath it.
Hmm.
Nobody's looking at me like, what's my little $30 my little $30 Applebee's gift card gonna get me tonight?
Hmm.
You know?
Such a game changer for me too. And I hope people really let this sink in. I travel regularly for work, and especially when I'm on film sets, I could not care less if I'm eating with someone because I literally like either don't know anyone in town or don't know anyone on the set yet. So hell yeah, I'm starving. I'm gonna eat. I could not care less if someone comes down and sits with me. If they do, depending on the person, maybe it'll be great, maybe it won't. But I keep thinking back to the comment that you made, Sheila, that oh, everyone here must think I'm a weirdo. I'm that weirdo in the corner eating alone. And my sister-in-law said something similar about a month ago. And I just remember thinking, when I was a kid, I had this director, this choir director, and he was trying to, when you hit puberty, especially like right around middle school, anything you do in your mind, they've got like a telescope on you or they got a magnifying glass. Like, oh my God, I wiped my nose. Did somebody see? You think everything is under a microscope. And that director said to me, every time you think someone's watching you and thinking about you, 99% of the time they're not, they care more about themselves. You're not even a thought in their mind. That was such a game changer for me. It got me through the
Mhm.
hell that was junior high, that was high school. And it just really sat with me as an adult to the extent that I've been practicing it so regularly in my life that really at the end of the day, I couldn't give two shits what anybody thinks about me. It's nice as they think nice things, especially if I respect the person. But if I'm alone at a restaurant and you're watching me, well, that's your problem. Like I literally don't even notice the people around me anymore because I that really changed my mindset at such an early age of people really aren't thinking about you. They may or may not notice you, and it doesn't mean shit. So if the best company you have tonight is yourself, like have a ball, you know?
You know what? Even if they are thinking about you, fuck
If
them.
exactly,
Right. Like
like what does it even matter? Like you don't know these people, they don't know you. Like who cares?
literally, and I think this a lot because there's been this whole thing in the trans community, not to go on a tangent, but this one creator who's always like, in restaurants, oddly enough, and like gets so offended if somebody calls them sir.
Oh,
And I'm like, things like that, I don't get offended by it because of the fact that I don't get offended by it because of the fact that I will never see this person again in my life.
hmm.
I will never have to interact with them. They will never be of any sort of consequence to me ever.
Yeah.
And yet, and yet we just oftentimes live our lives by worrying about what these meaningless people who we will never interact with ever again think of us.
Yes. That goes for social media too,
Hmm.
you know?
Well, and I think too, it's one of those things that I think when we don't click with somebody, we're okay with that. Like I don't
Yeah.
click with that person, I'm okay. But when we're on the receiving end of that, then
Mhm.
it's harder, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have that control. Like,
Right.
well, wait a minute, why don't you click with me? I'm a good person, I'm a nice person, but it's
Mhm.
I
okay if I don't click with you. But what is it
Gotcha.
about me
right.
you couldn't, you don't click with? That's harder to accept. That's an
Sure.
ego thing then at that point. And so if we can kind of let go of our ego and go, hey, I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea, just like they don't have to be my cup of tea. And that's okay. And then you give yourself permission to just, just let that go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Abby, we've been yakking a lot here and sort of snowballing off of the ideas that obviously your book is a conversation starter. We haven't none of us in here have read the first page. We have not seen an advanced copy. Well, you're the only one that has read a page of it. Well, maybe Morgan has, I don't know.
There is a sample, a 4 minute sample. I haven't listened to it yet. Shall
Oh,
I go and do the
yeah.
research?
No, I think because what we're gonna do here after the start of the hour is I don't know if you have like an excerpt prepared for it, but especially since we don't get to hear you do the audiobook, I think we get a little treat here of hearing you um produce a selection of it here, share it with
Wow.
us, and let us bask in the glory of what it is here. So, but this is the top of the hour. I do a little station identification here. This is WHTR Hurricane Girls Radio. We are live on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls. Also, later tonight, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And just check us out on the web. You can join our Facebook group. We do have a Facebook page. We have a Blue Sky page that I have not updated in months because Blue Sky was a thing for a second and yeah, I don't know what happened to it. It got boring. But yeah, just follow us online. You can follow me online at Sheila Chappelle on TikTok. You can follow Morgan and Sim by going through me. I'm sure you'll see them commenting on something or another I've done. You will not, however, be following Hurricane Abby because she does not do the social medias. But you can go to the website for the book, Simon and Schuster, check out The Year of Dating Myself. Order 3 or 4 copies. You're going to want to send some of these to your homegirls or to your kids or to people you care about because this is the kind of thinking that can change women's lives. We are affiliated with the Creator Accountability Network at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. I promise you they need a shorter name than that for the website, but we are with them. And we also, just coming up in the next few weeks, have an incredible amount of talent. We have lots of music coming your way. I really focused on finding bands and artists for us lately so that we can discover new music. And yeah, I've been on late lives at 3 in the morning talking to bands I found just randomly scrolling through TikTok, and I've got to know quite a few good bands that way. Coming up in October, we'll be talking to Miss Andre. We'll also be talking to Miss Emily once again. Mary and I are going to go see her show this month, and we'll be getting to visit with her here on this show again to celebrate the launch of her album. Um, in August, we're going to be visiting with the North Omaha Cat Lady, Rosie from TikTok, and also a band called the Rebel Eves. On in July, on the 29th, we'll be talking with the Cancellations. On the 22nd, the band Gold Steps from Milwaukee. My friend Millionaire Melly will be here on the 15th, and next week we will be visiting with Denisha, who is an incredible Americana artist. I can't wait to talk to her. Been emailing back and forth with her. Her music is fucking amazing. I've been vibing to it for days now. So I can't wait to introduce these to you. But tonight, whoa, we have with us our very own Abby Rosmarin, our beloved Abby, who has become absolutely an institution, indispensable on Hurricane Girls and just in our lives in general. So we're gonna take a little bit of time to listen to an excerpt from the year of dating myself. Set this up however you want to, Abby. Introduce yourself. I'm gonna step away for a second and grab a drink, but I can't wait to hear this.
Shall do. And when trying to find like a good passage, I decided why not begin at the beginning? Because this, as I gave kind of the cliff notes of what led to that year of dating myself, but this is the deep dive into those revelations that I had and into the inspiration. So we are starting right at the beginning, the prologue, which is I'm done slash how did I get here? As I clear my throat, obviously. My then boyfriend sat on the other end of the video call, stone faced. I felt hollowed out. His volatility had been bad that day. I'd been trying once again to explain to him why his behavior wasn't okay. The conversation was headed in the same direction as all of our previous talks. The only difference was that he had suddenly changed his approach. He started insisting that yelling, I see how it is, I'm the bad guy, it's all my fault, was just him acknowledging blame and apologizing. No, I'd said moments before crying, you know that's not what you were doing. Really, that's what I was doing. I was simply apologizing because I realized I was to blame, he replied. That was the moment I hung my head back and started to cry. My brain felt fuzzy, like I couldn't decipher what was up and what was down. My heart was exhausted and in agony. My knuckles had gone white from how hard I had been clutching to the Prince Charming that I once knew. I had nothing left in me but sorrow, and there was nothing left to do but cry. Well, what do you want me to do? My then boyfriend shouted through the phone, interrupting my tears. A wild thing happens when the only thing you have left is sorrow, and the other person makes it unsafe to feel that sorrow. You officially have nothing left, and that means you have nothing left to lose. My tears stopped. My emotions retreated. Something overcame me, and I looked at my then boyfriend with a robotic coldness that made him uneasy. I don't have to do this in front of you, I stated. No, I was just asking if there was something I could do, he stammered, to make you feel supported. No, no, that's not what happened at all, I replied slowly, my voice detached. I felt like a passenger in my own body. Yeah, I don't have to do this in front of you. And I hung up. The next day, I got a text from him asking if we could talk to discuss where we go from here. But I was already taking down our photos. Because, as I would eventually tell him later that day, where we went from there was nowhere. Because we were done. I was done. And now, one month later, I sunk chin deep into the water, the mountainous bubble bath surrounded by candles, the only way I knew how to keep the crushing darkness from consuming me. I had just seen my then ex-boyfriend in person for the first time since I had ended things the week before, and hopefully for the last time ever. He had dropped off my belongings, and I had sobbed in his arms, and for a moment I'd forgotten what he had put me through. That night, the weight of it all was unbearable. It really was over. My fairy tale really had been a nightmare, and there'd be no heroic turnaround in the third act. My Prince Charming was gone, and it didn't matter that he technically never existed. I was left in pieces, while he gallivanted off like nothing happened. How did I get here? Not with a relationship, not with a bubble bath, but with me. How did I get here? It was my fifth romantic nightmare in a row. Each one had been worse than the previous. And after each fallout, I'd promised to stay single only to immediately jump into another disastrous relationship. How did I let myself fall this far? How did I become this kind of person? How could I swear that I'd learned my lesson and then immediately prove that I'd learned nothing? I had no answers. Perhaps it was for the best. Any answers from that night would have been forgotten. Soon after that night in my bathtub, I learned that breaking up with my ex was just the start of things. I wasn't prepared for what came next. I wasn't prepared for the disorienting world of being an internet personality's ex with thousands of people watching. I wasn't prepared for his efforts to keep me from talking about my experience. I wasn't prepared for women contacting me, finally revealing what had been going on behind my back. I wasn't prepared to learn that he had lied about everything, absolutely everything. And I wasn't prepared to call the relationship what I had known to be true for months: abusive. My only saving grace during that time were my friendships. And one of those friends gave me a priceless invitation that December. Did I want to join her for a New Year's trip to Arches National Park? I answered by doing something that would have terrified past versions of myself. I bought a round trip ticket to Las Vegas for a vacation that I only had weeks to prepare for. And something clicked during that trip. As I hiked the snowy trails, I realized something. It had only been 3 months since I left my last relationship, and yet it was the longest that I'd been single since I was 19 years old. I'd been relationship hopping for nearly half of my life. I'd been frantically dating since my marriage ended with no room to breathe, let alone process. I only swore off dating as a superficial reaction against pain. All it took was a hint that my Prince Charming had arrived, and I'd abandoned my convictions. I wanted my happily ever after, and when each attempt instead added another sad chapter, I only grew more desperate. At the risk of victim blaming, my personality rang the dinner bell for men with dubious motives. I'd then serve myself up and then be dismayed that they'd actually gone ahead with carving into me. There had been a glaring blind spot, and I was finally noticing it. I'd sworn off dating for many reasons, but none of them were truly about me, let alone for me. I stumbled into that realization the way one inevitably stumbles into insight in nature. But what exactly was I supposed to do with that insight? Swear off dating for real? What would make it any different than my previous attempts? That New Year's Eve, on the drive home from a cold but fruitful day at Arches, sitting passenger side and scrolling through my phone, I had a moment of kismet. A promotional email from my favorite band sat in my inbox. They were touring again and playing locally in the spring. I went to look for tickets, only to find that the show was nearly sold out. A scattering of single seats was all that remained. I almost exited out of the ticket website when a question popped into my mind. When was the last time I'd been to a concert by myself? The answer was never. I'd never been to a concert by myself. When I thought about it, I hadn't done much by myself, period. I purchased one of those solo seats. I was going to that concert by myself. I was going to do something alone for once. I was going to take myself out to that concert. At that moment, something clicked. Still in the passenger seat of that rented SUV, I went from the confirmation page for my ticket to my notes app. I started listing the things I wanted to do in the new year, places I wanted to visit, activities I wanted to try, and long distance friends I needed to see. I wrote down abstract goals and concrete goals. As the last day of the year wound down, a plan was in place. I needed to be away from the dating world, yes, but that was just a surface level action. What I truly needed was to be reintroduced to the very person I kept ignoring for the sake of my promised fairy tale. What I needed was to reignite a love that never truly got a chance to blossom in the first place. What I needed was to get better acquainted with the person that I lost time and time again for the sake of whoever I was dating. What I needed was to take all of that energy that I had spent overly investing in romance and reinvest it. What I needed to do was date myself.
Bravo,
Sorry, I just
I
bravo.
remembered I
love
had to
that. I love
5 stars.
I just had to remember to unmute myself. Yes.
That's what I
Oh
just
my
did.
gosh. I was just sitting there just yeah, I mean, and I've heard this story, but it's like I was just sitting there feeling it, and the part where you were talking about getting to know the one person that you had been ignoring, and I'm thinking, God damn it, that's autobiographical as hell for all of us, I think, at sometimes
Absolutely.
in our lives there, and honestly, you I you were sitting there ignoring somebody that we all think is pretty fucking amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I love the fact that you got to know her again. So that obviously is a paradigm shift because I can so identify with the serial monogamy all the way from teenage years on up and having been there before. It's rough when you've been coupled since you're 16.
Ooh.
Like since you were allowed to start dating, like in my case, there you're with somebody up until then and you don't know what it's like to not be coupled. If you are coupled, you're just furiously like, okay, I need to get coupled. And I know the guy you're talking about, the last guy. We probably those of us on TikTok probably all know because we've seen him at some point in time.
Is his name piece of shit?
It is now. Yes.
He's our resident POS.
Is his name?
Yes.
No, no, no. I think his name is Can't Get Up.
What is that?
Can't
I
get
think
up.
his name was Can't Get Up.
Wait.
Or maybe he also has question mark parts. But that's neither here or there.
No, short toast, torsos maybe. I can talk. But yeah, like yeah, but he is litigious, so we'll not name his vibe. I mean his name.
Oh,
So
geez.
the the relationship you're talking about is like it's incredible how and this is not just you, it's a lot of us here who have to be actually literally abused before we wake up to the fact of we've lost
Mhm.
ourselves.
It's true for a lot of women. Again, it comes down to socializing. Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, but that paradigm shift has to cause a sea change in your life. And I feel like, even just the act of being single for a year, whether it be in service to a book or whether there's something you're doing or just a project that you had for yourself or a challenge you had for yourself, that's excruciating, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because tell me, tell me if I'm wrong, but there had to have been some times when you were like, I just want to be with somebody right now.
Oh boy, big time. And honestly, I think that is a huge reason why not only did I decide that I'm like, nope, it's the entire goddamn year. We're not going to do like a month or two and then, see where it goes. Like we're going to have a set timeline and it's a long timeline. And I started writing this book at the after like January. I felt like, you know what, I need to write this in real time. Because then I had something where it's going to be like, I have to see the book to the end. Because there were just some times where it, especially when I was more healed, like in the very, very beginning when I was still very jaded from everything with that ex and all that, it was a little easier. You hit the midway point of the year. Now the novelty of dating myself has kind of died away. And I've got some distance now from that situation. I even had a crush on a coworker at one of my jobs, and I was just like, I just want to be cuddled and I want forehead kisses. I can't forehead kiss. That is a literal impossibility. And
Right.
You
and
can
that's
get
one
them
of those
all.
areas where it's like, and it's why I'm a very big fan of even saying, like, for some people, nope, don't need a date anymore. And that is valid. It's also valid to be like, but I really want that love. Like, we don't need to invalidate that. Cause again, I was there. I'm like, I just want my forehead kisses, God damn it. Like, I can buy myself flowers, but I can't do the other thing.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, no, they need to make like if we can have sex toys for everything else, they should make a forehead kisser. Like
No, you can get
honestly,
a dog though.
well, a dog, no,
Being
They give you
licked is
still
forehead
not the
like,
kisses.
same thing. Being licked is not the same thing.
well, it depends on
Mo,
where,
I'm already
yeah.
anticipating her response. Don't say nothing.
Well,
Five,
but there's
Don't
been
say
times.
nothing, Mo.
three,
There have been times when I've just been sitting here like at my
one.
desk like this. Like
Mm,
I've sit at my desk like this and I go over here and it just involuntarily just sort of give my hand a kiss or something like
Hmm.
that. And I'm like, I miss that.
aw.
Yep.
That, it's just those little moments where you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you, or something like that, and you can feel it in your bones, but you cannot give yourself a forehead kiss. That's
That's
just
true.
that's just mm. And dogs are great. But yeah, that's not the same for forehead kisses.
Also, even the
Or
little
hugs.
that
I
that
don't
cats will
I
do.
don't even I don't even give forehead kisses anyway. I'm 6'2".
That's true. That's
It's
true.
usually it's like, okay, guys, a little heck on the cheek. Damn. I'm sitting down sometimes. Damn. God. But yeah, I mean, it's very much I'm watching Morgan crash out in silence over here. It's amazing.
Warming my heart. Oh,
Yes.
but
Goodness.
But
I
yeah, it's
Five,
She's counting down. No, Mo, don't
three,
do it. Don't do it.
I couldn't imagine like when not ever having that again in my life. I think though, and you and I have talked about this in private many many times about the fact that is, it's just sort of a desire and need inside us as human beings, that we want to be touched, we want to be loved, but then I think with the distance and from the way you describe it, the distance and the time frame gave you the opportunity to assess what you want in a relationship and how to look for the red flags and how to judge the vibe, if you will. Just to tell me a little bit about that. Like, how has that affected your after year of dating myself dating?
The big thing has been having those more ironclad boundaries and not excusing away the red flags. I remember there was at least for a while this shit take online that would be like, well, if you're dating emotionally unavailable people, then it means you're emotionally unavailable. And I was kind of like, let's not fucking do this, because really what happens is, I mean, they always start off so wonderful, and then it starts to show a little bit and you explain it away in real time, and a lot of the reason why you're explaining it away is that foundation of, well, I don't deserve better anyways. Like, even if cognitively you understand deep down, Mr. Limbic System is speaking a different game. And it is why it'll be like, okay, well, maybe he just had a really hard day, or maybe she's just, feeling some sort of way, blah, 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 blah. But really, at the heart of it is I'm justifying not being treated all that great because I don't think I deserve better. And I watched a lot of that when I finally decided, okay, you know what? I'm open to dating again. Let's see what happens. Thankfully, no like nightmares, which I do believe that the fact that I was just like, I'm open to it, we'll see what happens, also meant I wasn't ringing the dinner bell unintentionally to. And there are some really dubious folk out there who can tell when a woman or anybody of any gender is going into that world of like, I'm still wounded and just want somebody to love me and heal the wounds. Um, but there were times where, something would kind of go south and old me would have just been rushing to fix the situation and just give extra love and I'll be extra convenient. And modern day me was like, hey, listen, I'm putting my foot down. You can catch up with me if you would like, because I do like you and I want to see where this goes. But I ain't about to destroy myself if you want to take 3 to 5 business days to get back to me.
Right, right. And I imagine that's happened along the way, where you run into guys who are, or girls, who are not they're not ready, or they've been single for so long that they don't know how to be unsingle,
Mhm.
and I found that no matter which gender you're talking about, when you're dating in our ages, in your case the late 30s, or in my case the 40s, or 50s, you know there's a lot of broken people along the way that you're going to pick up. And I personally won't date a man who's never been in a hardcore relationship at my age, because I'm like, the problem is definitely you, bro. Like, the problem is, or even women like that. I'm like, if you've been alone this long, I don't want to break your streak.
Yeah.
Like, but then it's also the fact that there are people our age who have been hurt a lot and who have become toxic along the way, who it's all such a mixed bag nowadays. And I think when I'm just having not to look at the chat right now because Morgan is killing me over here.
Obviously,
The
avoid the chat.
Right.
Yeah, I stopped looking quite some time ago.
I think the fact of the I think the fact of the matter is, when we start to settle, like when we start to look at ourselves, and I'm looking around this room right now, and this is just a room full of fucking amazing women. Let's be honest. We're prizes, we're catches. And specifically you, Abby, you're tall, you're leggy, you were a model, you I just gorgeous, just effortlessly gorgeous, ridiculously. I fucking hate you for being how gorgeous you are sometimes. I'm kidding. But no, like literally, and not only that, but also whip smart, and the generator of many puns. And just that, if I were to describe you to your average man, they'd be like, yes, that's my dream girl. Like, that's what I've been looking
Aw.
for, I think. And same with the rest of you. Like, honestly, if I took all of your qualities and described them to a stranger, I feel like they'd be like, how do you know so many awesome people? And I think the same thing about myself too. And I've had to confront this in myself to this very day, of how I'm actually worth something.
Mhm.
I'm actually not something to be cast by the side or treated neglectfully or something like that. It's so hard to get to that point.
It sure is.
But when somebody's offering you the cookie of, hey, forehead kisses, hey, I'm your built-in partner when you're feeling a little horny at night, I'm the person, who you can curl up on the couch and watch TV with, but also I'm gonna fucking make you feel like you want to kill yourself.
Mhm.
That's the dangerous part. And I gotta think that going through that experience gave you a little bit of perspective, and a little bit of like, you know what? hey, this one looks good, but maybe I'm gonna throw them back until I find something better or something
100.
that fits me better.
Absolutely.
It really does, it is that part right there where you get that whisper, and then they'll give you the forehead kisses and they'll give you the handholds, and that, all in the beginning, and then it starts to slowly fade, and then you
Oh
try to
yeah.
bring up like, you used to be so loving, and now it just feels like, getting a hug from you feels like a burden, and I don't know what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
you stick around because again, you just, well, every once in a while they do give me that hug, even though I feel like a fucking burden. But you know what? Maybe I am a burden. Maybe this is as good as it gets. And to be in that place where I've had exactly that, where it was like, listen, there's some really good traits, and maybe you are a devastatingly
Luna,
handsome
come here.
dude or a devastatingly beautiful woman.
Sure.
But this thing right here is just, what else you're bringing to the table, it is not worth disrupting my peace for. So I'm gonna, and this is something that my own therapist has pointed out to me, that uh I'm not in that scarcity mindset of like, but I gotta make this one work because this is the only one who will like actually deign to love me, if you will. I'd be willing to go. I really wish it was not going to be this case, but you know what? You ain't it. So we're going to go back to the drawing board.
I love that. The drawing board is the best place to be because I think, honestly, like, yes, being coupled is nice, forehead kisses are nice, but also being miserable is forever. It's like they're like and I hate being the white person quoting Chris Rock again, but like there was something he said one time is like, no, life is short. No, life is long. Life is long if you're married to the wrong person.
Mhm.
If you're in a relationship with the wrong person. And I feel like what someone else has said, that women are that men or other women are not competing with other people for your attention. They're competing against your peace and your sobriety and your happiness as a single person. Because if you're with me and my happiness is lower than what it was when I was single, fuck it, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't need any of it. And I think that that's something that I had to learn, is to not beg for scraps and not throw away good time after the bad time because I was hoping that I would get a moment of romance.
Mhm.
And that's what I get from just not even from reading your book, but from knowing you and knowing the philosophy that went behind it and hearing all this is that we should stop accepting the crumbs because we're the steak, baby. Like
Exactly.
we're the sizzle and the steak. And we can be that for ourselves. We can treat ourselves the way we want to be treated because only truthfully only we know how we want to be treated.
Mhm.
That's why I'm always laughing at men who are like, yeah, I'll give you the time of your life. I'm like, can you do it better than I can? Because I don't think you can. Like, no, I can get myself there way faster than you, big boy. But do you feel like, and I know there have been recent developments, but how do you feel that it has been serving you in your current life without giving away too much of the end here?
Honestly, it really has like to recognize that you deserve more than scraps, and you deserve more than destroying yourself for those scraps. Like we're not going to feast on the scraps, because here's the thing, like I've seen the relationships of especially like the older generations, like my own parents. I'll be the first to call that one out, where there you don't get a gold star sticker for sticking with somebody that doesn't truly love you, that you're not compatible with, that that you don't love, or they don't make you feel loved. Like when my father died, he and my mom had been married for 35 years. Technically a till death do you part marriage. It was a fucking failure because those were two miserable people who should probably never have gotten together, but definitely should have eventually gotten divorced. Um, and to realize that you don't want to settle. You don't want to settle for the scraps and hope for the best. And even with, those, viggy, recent developments of anything, that has solidified it because I think about all those times that I've been towing back into the dating waters and the areas where it was very clear, like even in real time, I would go, but I'm dating in my late 30s. I'm dating in the basically the middle-aged pool now. Like, you get things aren't going to be perfect. And those would bottom out. And I look back on now and I'm like, yeah, because there are some things, there's no such thing as perfect, but there are some things where you're like, you don't fucking compromise on that. And I'm very glad that eventually I would be in that space of, no, I'm not compromising on that.
Compromise is a very, very bad word when it comes to relationships. Everybody says you got to compromise. You got to compromise. Some things you don't compromise on, and abuse is definitely one of them. Disrespect is definitely one of them that you don't compromise on, and gaslighting and things of that nature. And it really does seem like, you know, it's really easy to fall in that pattern, especially for those of us who've been abused growing up, and those of us who have been either mentally or physically taken advantage of. It's really hard to not fall into that pattern. And one of my friends calls it, it says that her picker is broken, basically. She picks people who were like her dad, and I pick people who are like my mom. And the fact of it is when you step back from it and you take time to find out who Abby is, who Sheila is, who Sim or Jenna or more Jen or Morgan. I promise I know her name. Yes. I promise I do. Like, you know who you are, at least anyway.
Exactly. Come on.
Right. So
Right.
getting to know ourselves is the best service we can do for ourselves, I think. And not letting some man or some woman get in the way of that and with their silver tongues just gloss right over that. Like, I don't think there's any greater gift that we can give ourselves. And I love the fact that this book gives us a path, maybe not the only path, but a path towards
Mhm.
learning how to love ourselves. Uh, One thing when I was in the 80s, I always thought Whitney's song was kind of cheesy and like learning to love yourself. No, the greatest love of all, Whitney Houston was fucking right the whole time. The greatest
Mhm.
love of all, learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. I wish it would have saved her life, but it can definitely save ours, you know. And I love that. So you've you've come through a lot. We've talked about a lot of what you've done. We've talked about how this started, and then the fiascos in the middle, and the fact that this whole thing has literally become a labor of love for you. It's something that you've been waiting on for years now. And I don't think people understand the process of putting a book out. It's fucking arduous. And to see this day is literally your audiobook releases in less than 7 days. Your book is going to be in people's mailboxes. How does it feel right now? Like in this very moment, how does that feel?
Honestly, it just feels like everything has been coming full circle because especially like because the process is incredibly arduous and when that fiasco went down again the book was effectively going to print and but there's still so much tedious stuff you got to do in terms of logistics so that like upwards of a year's worth and every time and I say this where my editor was from day fucking won. The first time I met with her and the head publisher dude and my agent, she was already in my corner, has been amazing. But every time I would get an email from her, because it just reminded me of the book, it meant reminding me of the fiasco. And deep down inside, there was a part of me that wish I could just pull. Like, it's like, damn it, I signed the contract. I can't. But like, they, the exact reason why they targeted the book was to try to get it pulled, and I'm ready to do it myself. um but to persevere through that, because again, knowing that, and I know some people try to use that me pointing out the whole book deal thing was like, oh, look at how much of a narcissist she is, she just thinks that everybody is jealous of her and her book, which is like, no, I was trying to point out the motivations of one very specific person, but okay. um the whole point was to try to get it pulled. It was trying to get it discredited, trying to get it like to fail before it even got a chance to get out. And to get to that other side. And even being in the place of like the promotion stuff where I've been doing so much of that with held breath, because when you go through that level of cruelty, even a year later, you're just like, you like gotta expect the unexpected. And it has been nothing but such a pleasant experience. And getting to talk with these interviewers and podcasters and editors for magazines. And it's like, I don't know, it just, you feel like I'm watching everything both come full circle and get to the other side at the very same time.
I love it, and I love that we've had such a part in it here. Like I feel like, I'm looking at the jealousy and the envy and the fact that there were so many people that were just like, well, I want what she has.
Mhm.
But I feel the healthy relationship here, if I may toot the hurricane horn just a little bit, is the fact that none of us in here are jealous that you're doing it and we're not. We're just fucking glad that our homegirl is getting it.
Hell
Like
yeah.
that somebody that I know, that somebody that I care for deeply as a friend is doing the damn thing, is getting her name out there, getting published. That just fucking, I could not be more pleased. And the there are people out there who are just like, no, it's not about me, so I can't deal with it. Fuck all that shit. Like
Seriously.
literally, look at yourself with your PhDs and your big followings and everything, and think to yourself, why are you not enough?
Mhm.
Amen.
I'm looking at him right here in the eye. Why are you not enough that you have to tear her down?
I
Why
remember.
why as women, why are we not being like, go sis, go? Maybe I didn't do it, but I am here for those who are. Like when Jen's doing a movie and doing some incredible work, and I'm listening to like a 20-year-old recording of her being singing like a fucking angel, you know, and like, I'm not like, God, I wish I were Jen Lennon. I'm like, no, I am so proud of Jen. I'm so proud of Sim and Morgan and Abby and all of our hurricanes. I'm proud of Mary. Proud of Evie. Like, we're all doing things.
And we're proud of you too, Sheila. Don't forget.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And
We're
that's the
so proud of
thing.
you. Proud as hell. You created Hurricane Girls. Come on
It
now.
doesn't
Super proud.
like it doesn't even have to be about each one of us. It's just about what the women around us, and that is what we've
Mhm.
predicated on, is lifting up the voice of women, the women who come in and out of this podcast, who come in with their singles, with their movies, with their books, with whatever. I'm just so proud that women are doing it, and
Amen.
that we're doing it in the face of just the worst people, the worst timeline right now. The fact that women are doing this in the opposition with men looking for us to fail.
Yeah.
rooting for our failure, rooting for our destruction. Like, not even trans women, cis women are not immune from it either. The patriarchy wants us to fail. The fact
Seriously.
that you can look at another woman and be like, I'm going to tear her down because that's not me. Grow the fuck up,
Hell yeah.
honestly. And I could not be more proud of this book that I did not write, that I had nothing to do with the creation of. I just happened to be there along the way, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud because of the person who wrote it and who she is. And I want all of you out there in TV land here to buy this motherfucker. Get on what I don't know why you're still here. Like, honestly, we got like 15 minutes left in the show. You go order the book. You send a copy to your bestie, the one who's been dateless and desperate for so long and who keeps getting into shitty ass relationships. She needs to read this book.
Hell yeah.
The woman who's been married for 20 years and doesn't buy anything for herself and just only does for the kids. So she needs to read this book. The single woman who has no intention of getting together with somebody, she needs to read this book. We all need to learn how to treat our fucking selves and how to be good to ourselves and how to be good to each other. So, y'all have any questions y'all want to ask Abby about this book? I've been talking a lot just because I'm passionate about this book right here. But do y'all have anything you wanna ask?
I am curious to know, Abby, how it took a lot of courage to even take that first step with the concert, with going on that trip with your friend for New Year's. There must have been some moments along the way where you had second thoughts and wanted to talk yourself out of something, or just, I can't do this. Oh, can I really do this? Oh my God, this feels so awkward, this weird. What did you do to kind of talk yourself off that ledge and make sure that, yes, this is a step in a process I'm going to follow, and I'm damn well going to do it?
It's going to sound really silly, but making that checklist, if you will, and, especially in Notes app where you can put the little like the circle thing and you have to, click on it to do the check mark, having the ones that I was avoiding because of exactly that just looming over really helped because there were a few, like I'll be the first to say that like the restaurant one, again, it took 6 months to get the courage to step into an actual sit down restaurant. And that was the thing. I would do these workarounds where I'd get like takeout or, like you order at the counter and then maybe you find a picnic table outside. No, like sit down in a restaurant, have a menu. Took 6 months, and a huge reason why it's like you got to do it was there was that line in my notes app in the to-do area that it was just glaringly just unchecked. And, from that more frivolous example of what finally motivated me, there was also that cliche of growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
Mm.
I know that one, there was one specific where I wanted to try a fencing class because it just that it felt so different and so outside of what I'd done before. And it was on the suggestion of my bestie who, in the book she's given the name Lana, and I will keep it at that because again, all names are changed and we don't need to do any translations over here. But my bestie Lana gave the suggestion because that was something she tried doing after one of her the partner she was with at the time had passed away from a medical crisis.
Mm.
And to heal, she was doing things like trying to go, grow and get into this adventure spirit. And I was like, well, I have to do this. I have to. But fencing felt like an extra like what? No, put on the big white suit with the mask thing and like try to I don't know, but I would just keep telling myself like, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, you're uncomfortable. That's the point. It's outside of your comfort zone.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
I feel like there are so many people who get these ideas and then the ideas just die because
Yeah.
we listen to that little voice on the inside of our heads. And there have been times that I've done it when I've been like, you know what, that I've been solicited for something like that, and I just the execution of it, I was just like, might be easier if I don't. But also, there's no reward with no risk at the same time too. And there's a chance you could have written this book and the editors could have been like, this sucks, and there you have it. But no, I love that you pulled through and did that and talked yourself off that ledge. And like literally when you're talking yourself off that kind of ledge, you're talking yourself into jumping off of it as opposed to pulling back from it. I love it. I love it. Sim, Morgan, you got anything you want to ask our dear author here while we have her as a guest and not a host?
I'm excited. I'm really excited for the book. I think um I don't have particular questions, but I think I'm thinking of all the different ways that this book can be applied. I think this is great for people going through breakups or just kind of choosing to be single for a while, or widows, or widowers and things like that, who or young people kind of rebounding. Maybe this is their first breakup and they're trying to figure out how to reclaim themselves, or maybe someone's been married for a decade or two and found themselves suddenly single for whatever reason. So I think that people can benefit from it, and it can shape their lives and in whatever stage that they're in. And I love that. I look really forward to the book coming out.
Yeah, I think that that sort of puts me in mind of something else. It's like this doesn't have to be just for women. Like
Right.
men can read this and apply. They probably won't, but they'll because they'll be like, "Ooh, a girl." But men could take this advice for themselves as well, because there's nothing keeping you guys out there from taking yourself out to a concert or a tractor pull, or going to a football game by yourself. There's nothing keeping you from applying this to yourself as well, because uh, I mean, the the point of being in love with yourself and taking care of yourself is not restricted to one gender. It's very much a human thing. And but let's not help the guys too much here. We're not here to educate or lift up men. Um, the Year of Dating Myself is going to be out July 8th or the 7th, depending on which website you look at. The pre-orders are up now. They're hot off the presses, ready to go. You'll be getting them in your hands. If you want to listen to it, you'll be able to do so by this time next week, immediately after Hurricane Girls. So don't listen to it while Hurricane Girls is on. You come here, but then go listen to that. I have a feeling that Abby's book is going to be accompanying me in my sleep for a little while. If it's 8 hours long, it's perfect. Perfect. I can start it when I lay down and it'll be wrapping up by the time I wake up. I'll learn it subconsciously. But I think no matter how you do it, how you consume this book, if you go to if you get it off of Audible or Spotify, or if you get the ebook, or if you just are like me and would like to have a chunk of paper in your hands, go get it. Go order it. Do it now because Sheila said so. But we are getting very, very close to the end of our show here. Abby, is there anything you want to add on to what we said tonight, just to put a little sizzle on the steak?
Little sizzle on the steak. I think my last little bit is just the gratitude that I want to make sure that I express and extend to all of my hurricane girls. Um, because that first time I was on the show back in January, I was still such a shell of the person I used to be. I was timid. I assumed that I was just a digital hermit from here on out. Honestly, a real life hermit from here on out because I wasn't really going out much either. And I know that a huge reason that I've been able to not just heal but flourish from that nonsense is because of you ladies. And I am so beyond words grateful and so happy that I get to have you guys in my life.
Yes. And I promise I won't sell you out for a Croatian trip or a creme brulee. It, it it's insane. Y'all, if y'all knew the stories. Like I was there throughout all this, all the way from the breakup with the boyfriend to the Robbie Harvey to the Croatia nonsense and through on until she was here first. So it's been a great journey. I'm just happy that we stuck it out here. Um, but it is time for final thoughts from our crew here. So, um, I'm gonna just kind of go around the room here and let's start with Sim, if you're able to give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, sorry, I'm fighting off a migraine.
It's okay.
My lights in my bathroom are
They're not
painful.
helping much. Okay.
No, I think as I said before, I think this is going to be an amazing book. I think that word of mouth is going to be essential on this. I think so. If you know somebody and know somebody, if you know anybody, tell them about it
Hmm.
and get the word out there because yeah, I think like we talked about earlier, I think it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl or a they. It's this is going to be beneficial to anybody. So get the word out because it's going to be good and you don't want to miss out. And I'm just grateful that I got a chance to call Abby my friend.
That's been the biggest gift out of all of this, I think, for me, is just getting to know this person that everybody hated so much and then like why? What, how more is a better question. How can you? But I don't know, they're lost. But Morgan, final thoughts tonight.
I'm very grateful that I got to meet a beautiful person, a wonderful spirit like Abby. I didn't even know who she was. I was like, Marlon on TikTok. I'm like, which one? I don't know nothing. And she was just so sweet. She was just like, hi, I'm Abby, and please be nice. Are you friend shape? I'm like, of course we're friend shape. At least I am. Hey girl, hey. But I am so excited about your book. I can't wait. I literally was actually on my page like, hey, y'all go ahead and cop this book. Hurry up. So I can't wait. And hopefully, if you decide to get on social media, I'll be the first one to be like, hey.
I don't know that we're in any danger of that. I think she's quite enjoying her life of non-social media at this point.
It's a lot, Abby. It's ghetto.
Mm,
It's ghetto.
yeah,
I love that. The
It
Wild West,
is.
but it's ghetto.
it's the Wild West out there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Jen, your final thoughts for tonight.
Abby, I am so proud of you. But not only that, I'm proud to know you. I hope through this entire journey, it's not lost on you that you had a personal crisis, something that would have brought so many people to so many lower levels. You could have chose 1,000 different ways to deal with that pain that were self-destructive, which many, many, many people do. And you chose not to. You chose yourself, and it was painful, it was difficult, it was challenging, but you did it anyway. And to see you to create a work of art around a self experience like that, getting very vulnerable and personal, that takes a lot of courage. But I'm so excited that not only do I get to read this and share it with anyone who's going to listen, but just knowing that over time, all of the people that are going to benefit from such a wholehearted, um, unobtrusive and unassuming way of describing something very personal, and it's so relatable. You know, it's like you read that first passage to us, and it was like just sitting down and having a conversation. It was like a breath of fresh air,
Mhm.
nothing pretentious about it whatsoever. There are going to be so many people who are going to benefit from that. And I just look forward to what is hopefully going to be a very nice and beautiful journey for you, just getting to know more people and how you've changed their lives through this book. And I'm just going to be sitting back with some popcorn and being like, that's my girl, Abby.
Yeah, I love the fact that I think I was talking about this with Sim yesterday. I love the fact that now, because of this show, like when I'm watching movies or reading books or listening to music, I'm like, hey, let me just real quick, like watching a Jennifer Reeder movie, let me just real quick text the director and ask why they did that, or go
Yeah.
back, I can text some of these artists and be like, what were you thinking when you wrote this song? It sort of
Mhm.
takes, it's a weird level. Now I can read Abby's book and be like, that part, that's weird, right? Like what happened, so I need it, or like I need backstory behind this part or something like that. It's awesome just surrounding ourselves with the creative people that we do. That's its own reward.
Mhm.
But Abby, I know you kind of gave your sum. Do you have any final thoughts, or anything that you want to share?
Honestly, my final thoughts is that I freaking love you girls. Like I'm so lucky.
We
And buy the
love
book, by the
you.
way.
Seriously, buy the book.
Yeah, seriously, buy the book. We love you too, just so you know. But for my final thoughts tonight, um, I mean, I don't know that there's a lot I can say that hasn't already been said, but again, um, just going through, those times when got to know you, I was a tiny, tiny creator. You had 500,000 people following you or something like that. And we got to talk because of your situationship that you had going on there, and um similar people that we sort of cross paths somewhere. You've always been a pleasure, and you've always been kind to me, which is unusual, and sadly unusual, because not everybody's kind to a pink-haired weirdo trans girl who's just trying to live her truth. And you were never unkind to me. It's why when everybody started accusing you, I was like, really? Like, that does not, the math was not mathing on that for me. And just seeing you go through all that, but also not being able to help you with it in at that point in time, because of the fear of the retribution that would come towards me, or because I just didn't feel like I had a big enough voice. And then getting to know you and realizing that I do have that voice, and that I do have that there was a really good friendship there that was just waiting for the right fertilizer to have it grow. And then having, over the past year, our morning texts, our exchanging of playlists, our, just knowing that you're one person in my life that I can go to reliably. One person amongst several, obviously, but I always feel like I'm safe with you, and that I not only benefit from all of the stuff that and have experienced, but I can also help you in some sort of way. It's very gratifying. Just knowing you has been a privilege and a pleasure, and I look forward to lots and lots more of it. And reading this book is just going to be the icing on the top of that cake. And like I said, I'm sending it to whoever needs it, and whoever doesn't need it, fuck it. You need a book to read on the toilet before work in the morning. Here, this needs to change lives, and it needs to help women. And I think what you've got here very well could very well change women's life for the better. And I appreciate you for it. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm happy to put you back in the host chair next week. And next week we will experience some amazing music together with the wonderful Denisha. But tonight we wrap it up with the year of dating myself. Coming around full circle on it. Order it now. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, I don't know, eBay, wherever the fuck you can find it. Get it somewhere. Not eBay. eBay won't pay Abby. Get it off of some place that'll pay her. And read it and make a difference in your life. But tonight, that's we're gonna wrap things up a little bit differently because we usually close with a song, and it usually is one of our artists that we feature. Tonight is really not an exception to that, but this is also the first time that Abby has performed playing the guitar in front of anybody. And she recorded this especially for me on a day when I needed it badly. And I'm lucky to have been the first, but I got permission to let y'all be the second. So what is the name of this song, Abby?
It might be Laura Daigle's Rescue You.
Rescue You. Okay, I knew it was Lauren Daigle, but this is our very own Abby Rosmarin with Rescue You. And for Hurricane Jen, Hurricane Morgan, Hurricane Sim, and Hurricane Abby Rosemarin, author of The Year of Dating Myself, I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, Category 5 Hurricane Girl, saying chin up, tits out, ladies. Here's Abby.
You are not hidden. Never been a moment you are forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you've been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. But I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You are not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. Well, I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. Well, I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight is true, I will rescue you. Oh,